Hello, everybody, and welcome to Late Night Football. And well, scratch everything I said a couple of hours ago. It's finished. Fulham won, Liverpool won, and I gotta say, Liverpool in some respects got away with that one with a point. I think they might in some regards feel lucky that they got away with the point. But I think it was a well deserved point for Fulham. And I thought this was a gimme, and I thought that, I mean, man, it was quite the game, and there's so many things to talk about because you often notice things when these kind of results come up, and there are a few issues there for Liverpool that I saw today. It's just a matter of, like, will teams able to do that on a regular basis? Will teams able to exploit that on a regular basis? But there are issues for Liverpool. But let's get right into it. Let's talk about the game itself. And I thought Fulham had a very good start. They were very, very aggressive. They were very front foot. I thought Leuven Loftus-Cheek completely won the physical battle that he had with I think it was with Fabinho. I mean, at times it was also I guess what the word, tangling with Wijnaldum, but he won that physical battle in that sort of withdrawn midfield attack role. He was kind of in between there, and he kind of won that quite well. And that he set the tone. I thought, for that whole offensive quartet, if you will, for Fulham. And then you had Ademola Lookman, who completely had Alexander-Arnold on toast for the first 35 minutes. He looked absolutely brilliant. And the thing was the aggression and the intensity that Fulham was showing was the big reason why Liverpool were taken aback. I think Liverpool kind of probably thought they would come into this game. Fulham would sort of sit back. Liverpool could feel their way into the game, and then eventually go up the gears and get the goal. I think Fulham's fast start kind of caught them off track, and once you go into a game with with that low energy, it takes a while for that energy to go up. So it took a while for them. And in that time, I was just thinking, this is the sort of game where Liverpool would probably be under the cosh, but then they would come out of it the other side 0-0 and then just go up and score the goal. So it was great that they scored the goal when they did. After Alisson had a wonderful first half with the saves that he was making. I mean, I've said this before. I think Alisson is the best goalkeeper in England for sure, maybe even in the world. But maybe Neuer has a claim to that. But he's just a wonderful, wonderful goalkeeper, and the difference he makes for Liverpool is marked and pronounced when he plays. And it's a surprise when a team scores against Liverpool when he's in goal. That's how much I rate him. So amazing performance. And then they eventually, Fulham did get the goal, and that was a wonderful piece of play. Again, it was a corner that was cleared, and you really thought Liverpool. There was, I think, 6 or 7 Liverpool players. Again, it's such a lesson in how Liverpool attack. They all were like in a line running outside. It's like, like when you're standing on the ocean and the wave just comes to you. It kind of felt like that, the way Liverpool were coming out. And that tackle that came in was so crucial, because if he had not got that tackle in, and I can't remember the name of the player who got it, but if that tackle had not come in, Liverpool were probably going to go up the other end and score. He makes that tackle. It comes to Lookman. One again, a great pass from Lookman. He looks and he finds Decordova-Reid with a nice pass. Again, the speed and the thought of movement was really, really good. And then the pass comes in, and then Decordova-Reid just lashes it. And I don't think Liverpool were expecting that. I don't think Alisson was ready for it. I think Alisson was probably, like everyone, expecting the Liverpool wave to just go past. So I think he was a little bit taken aback by the shot, as well as the power that was generated. But a credit to Fulham, and credit to Lookman, because it's not easy, because everybody was probably on their heels worrying about the counter attacks. So it's not easy for Lookman to just quickly turn around and then make the pass. And credit to Decordova-Reid as well for being alert, that being in that position from where he could then latch on the shot. So a great goal, wonderful goal, and a wonderful piece of play. And I thought the first 35 minutes, I thought Fulham were the better side beyond the shadow of a doubt. I think they completely dominated Liverpool. Liverpool had no idea what was going on, what to do, how to deal with Lookman, how to deal with Reid on the other side. I thought it was a perfect game plan that was executed. But then that's the issue, right? When you're playing at that high intensity, that high aggression, eventually energy levels dropped, and they dropped in the last 10 minutes, and Liverpool got back into the game. They didn't get the goal, but they got back into the game. And I said at halftime, I said, if Fulham keep playing like the way they did in the first 35 minutes, they have a chance to win. But if they play like but if they try to sit back, try to defend deep, they're going to lose, because, or not win. They're not going to win, because Liverpool are going to have chances to score. And then, yeah, actually I said they were going to lose, and I thought they would lose just with the way that they were playing. And they weren't necessarily sitting back, but I think Liverpool kind of countered. They knew what the outballs were. They knew it was Caballero, and they knew it was Lookman. So they kind of had double. I think at times, Lookman was being double teamed up whenever he had the ball, and Caballero was pretty much marked out in that second half. So they kind of kept both of those guys on their toes. and that allowed Liverpool to get into the game. At one point, I saw all 11 players of Liverpool were like about quite a few feet into Fulham's half. That was how comfortable they were in in terms of the defense and offense balance. And it was an unfortunate penalty. It was a correct penalty based on the letter of the law. You can't really complain much about it, but it was an unfortunate penalty, and you wonder if that penalty had not been given and not gone in, would Liverpool have actually won that game? Because again, it's yeah, I don't think there was a clear cut opportunity where you felt Liverpool kind of could have done like where you thought that there was a fantastic, outstanding save in those last 20 minutes. I didn't think the penalty was very good either. I said it was very unconvincing from Salah, and Ariola might have actually saved it. I think he could have saved it. He probably should have saved it. I don't think he was expecting it to come so low and straight at him. So he kind of dived over it, and by the time he could get his positioning right, just squirmed under him. It was not a very good penalty from Salah. And if he had missed that, there would have been a lot of inquisition because he was actually supposed to come off as well. But he caught the penalty. He took the goal, and it was 1-1. And in the last 20 minutes, you just thought. I think the one thing that was interesting was as soon as that goal went in, Fulham actually started attacking more. They weren't sitting back. So I almost feel it almost felt like that. If you remember the City Lyon game that we saw in the Champions League, where Lyon were offensively fast off the gates, they were really attacking City, coming at them from all angles. They got the opening goal, and then after about 30 minutes, City kind of got back into the game. They started slowly taking control, and Leon started sitting deeper and deeper, and then they finally conceded. And you thought City are now going to go on and win this, but actually, that conceding that goal actually allowed Leon to go back to Plan A, to start attacking, and because they didn't have anything to defend now, so they went forward and poured forward, and then they won that game. And I thought the same thing happened with Fulham. Fulham are not as good as Leon, obviously, so they don't have that quality. But it looked like they wanted to go forward. They didn't want to just sit back and take the draw. They were actually trying to attack, and I think that again, that probably might have got Liverpool. On another day, it might have been better if another team, if Fulham had a bit more cutting edge up top, they might have been able to make more of that. But ultimately, it was a 1-all draw. And as I say, Fulham were full value for it. I think it's 2 points drop for Liverpool as well. But again, you got to look at the context of the game, the season. I think there's 3 contexts here to look at. I think in the context of this game, I don't think it's 2 points dropped. I think it's a point gain just because of how bad Liverpool were today. They're pretty bad. So based on the context of this game, you'd say Liverpool got away with one, and the fact that they got away with a point is a point more than they probably, not necessarily that they deserve. I think they didn't have to get a point from the game, but a point more than they probably should have got. Because that was a penalty goal ultimately. I mean, imagine if it was Manchester United who got that penalty goal. I mean, I can only imagine what the comments would be right now. So I think they got away with that. In the context of the game, they got away with a point. It was a lucky point. It was a point earned over 2 points dropped. I think in the context of the weekend, I think it's probably 2 points dropped, you would have to say, but it could also be a point earned because quite frankly, if they had lost that game, Spurs would then have gone, got a bit of a 1 point gap ahead. And with Chelsea losing allows them to then get that 1 point lead over Chelsea, and as well as with City and United, City drawing, then that means they've also now kept pace a little bit with City. I think City will be happy with the draw that they got against United though, because just for the fact that the other 2 teams have dropped points. So if they had lost, it would have been a missed opportunity. So at least they drew. It means that they now have a chance because those 2 were winnable games. So City can probably feel, you know what, we've got away with one there as well. But in the context of the season and in the context of the title race, I think you have to say it's 2 points dropped. I mean, Fulham away, yeah, Liverpool have injuries. They had another one to Joel Matip, and I'm sure a lot of fans are going to be going like, crazy at the moment with Joel Matip. But it was an injury, but still, you expect a Liverpool team to go to Fulham and be able to beat them. I think that's you kind of expect that, and maybe that's harsh, maybe that's a little bit unrealistic, but the fact is you expect that to happen. So overall, there was issues. I think Liverpool, though, there are a few key issues that have now come up, and I think it's time. I think Klopp needs to start thinking about how he wants to address those. It's not issues that it's addressable issues. It's the thing is, does he want to address those issues? And there's also VAR decision, by the way, which I'll come to at the end because I want to talk about that as well a bit. But to talk the personnel, the first thing obviously is the fact that Liverpool completely low intensity today, and if they do go like that against Spurs, they're going to get in trouble because Spurs have a better cutting edge up front than the Fulham. So if they give away 3-4 chances, and the odds are that Spurs will probably get more than the 1 goal that Fulham got. So they've got to be careful with that. They've got to make sure that they start games on the front foot rather than try to feel their way into the game. People will talk about the midweek game. I think that played a role, obviously, because Klopp played his best players in that game. He played his first team. I probably would not have done that, but he played his first team in that game against Michelin, and that kind of affected. I'm sure a few of them. It probably affected a few of them as well, being a bit leggy. But That's but the key here takeaway for opposition is if you can get on the front foot, if you can push Liverpool back early, Liverpool can be got at, right? Their defense is not as solid. Their midfield is a little bit iffy, and they're having injuries, so they, it's not they're not having a settled 11, and there is an opportunity there. So it's not always about parking the bus and hoping for the best. Sometimes you can actually go on the front foot and try and attack and and cause problems. And there are problems. There was a lot of gap in that back line. There were between Alexander-Arnold, I think Matip was on that side. You had Fabinho on the other side, and Robertson. There was a bit of gaps there that were being exploited as well. So there are gaps there. If you can push Liverpool back, or if you can try to play to the center, it can work. And instead of trying to park the bus and hope for the best, I think that playing the front foot is an issue for Liverpool. The other issue I think was Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think going forward, there's no better fullback in the world than Trent Alexander-Arnold. I think he's better than Alphonso Davies as well going forward. I think his crossing, even today, his delivery was exceptionally spot on. It was just that nobody at times couldn't get on the end of it, or Fulham had players that they could counter that. But if you put it as an offensive-minded fullback, I think Trent Alexander-Arnold is one of the best in the world, if not the best in the world. The problem is his defensive side was today. I think today he was completely exposed by Lookman, and it was a real problem. And maybe he wasn't getting enough help from Jones. There was Jones' moment where he got a yellow card. He tried to help him. He wasn't getting enough help from Salah. Maybe you could say that. But the fact is, this happens quite often where the opposition wingers, if they get an opportunity, they can isolate Alexander-Arnold and make him look pretty bad defensively. I don't think he has mastered that art of one-on-one defending as a fullback. He's not mastered that yet, and maybe it will come. Maybe he's still young. Maybe it will come. Maybe it won't. Maybe it doesn't matter because Liverpool most games play on the front foot, so they don't really need Alexander-Arnold to do a lot of defensive work. But I think today that was an issue where quite a few times in the first half he was being bypassed quite easily by Lookman. Ultimately they got around it. They tried to double team Lookman, and Fulham obviously started retreating deeper, so it didn't matter much. But that first 35 minutes where that goal came, he wasn't very good defensively. So that was an issue. I thought the Matip injury is interesting as well. Now it might just be a back niggle, and he might just be out for a couple of days. He might be back for the Spurs game. If it was a bold call to put Jordan Henderson as a center half and then bring on Minamino. I don't think Minamino did anything to warrant the 45 minutes that he got anyway. I don't think he was that good. And honestly, I struggle to find the reason why Minamino gets games, to be honest. It doesn't look like he offers much to Liverpool. I don't think he's very good pressing, like some of the other players are. God, I don't know why I'm yawning so much. But he's not very good at pressing. He's not very he's obviously not he's very limited offensively. So I really don't know what he offers to the team. But there must be a reason why he's being picked. But he didn't run the 45 minutes. But it could have gone pear-shaped if Fulham could have found a delivery or right pass. That could have got them that second goal. But it was a calculated gamble, and obviously Klopp figured that there wasn't going to be a lot of defending for Liverpool in that second half. So having a midfield who was probably having somebody who could pass from deep would be a good asset as well. So maybe that was a calculated gamble, but it didn't cost them in this game. But the injury to Matip will probably cost them. Might cost them if he's not available for Spurs. It might cost them. But again, I think they have got Nat Phillips on the bench, and he's not a bad defender. I was surprised he didn't come on, so maybe they'll use Nat Phillips and it might work out. But that injury crisis, it looks like each game somebody gets injured for Liverpool. I think they'll probably be doing that, but such is football. On that note, I think the only other thing to talk about, I like Fulham. I like the way the Fulham played. I thought the back three suited them, and I think a lot of people we've judged Fulham based on what they've done, maybe for the first 8-9 games, but in the last couple of games, against Burnley, even against Leicester, they've looked pretty good defensively. They look pretty solid. I think the back three works for them. And again, it's not bad having a back five against Liverpool. You can have a back five against Liverpool. What I think was the key today was Ruben Loftus-Cheek was physically very, very aggressive, and he won his physical battle against his Liverpool counterparts. So you need that. You need a little bit of physicality, a bit of intensity, but you also need passers in midfield who can try to break the lines and try and exploit that space that Liverpool leave. I think those are key. And then of course having a fast fingers obviously helps a lot as well when you're playing against a team like Liverpool. But it was good game plan, good tactics, good game plan from Fulham. and full value for their point. I don't think anybody can begrudge them the point. But that VAR call, now that penalty call, to me, so the first half, the incident in the first half, Fabinho goes in on Caballero, I believe he goes on Caballero, and it's given as a corner initially. Then VAR tells the ref, Marina, I guess, and Marina to go have a look. And the thing, my issue with VAR on this instance, first thing is, if you look at it from the angle behind the player, right, it looked like a fair challenge. It looked like he had won the ball. It looked like that, right? When you look at it from a side-on angle or from a front angle, it clearly showed that Fabinho had actually hit Caballero in the foot. So when I look at it from the front angle, I'm thinking that's a penalty. And I was saying this is a foul, that's a penalty, it's got to be a penalty. But then you look at it from the back angle, and what you see is that he's probably got the ball. So the angle, and I think Marina made his decision based on the angle from the back angle. He didn't make his decision from the front angle. He made it from the back angle. So when you look at it from the back angle, it looks like it's not a penalty. So for me, there's two things here. One is you've got to show. I mean, what does that mean for VAR? If you have these different angles where things are different, what angle do you use? What angle do you suggest? Do you look at? And that's the issue with the replays sometimes is. Conclusive evidence is not always available with technology. And in this case, I think Marina, Marina didn't see enough to overturn his decision. He didn't see enough because he was looking at it from the I don't think he was looking at it from the side angle or from the back. On the front angle, he was looking from the back angle. And from that, it doesn't look like a penalty. But also, secondly, if you're taking 2-3 minutes, I thought they were taking 2-3 minutes. There was no questions of offsides anyway. I don't know why, I get, the safety first approach, but reality is, sometimes you just got to look at it, and you've got to see there was no offside anyway, so they didn't need to spend like 40 seconds 45 seconds that they spent trying to find an offside. There wasn't an offside. You come to the incident, and I think they showed the angles, the two angles. They took at least about a minute and a half, 2 minutes, just trying to go back and forth between angles. And I thought, you're seeing it from the front angle, you're seeing it's a penalty. You're seeing it from the back angle, you think it's not a penalty. The referee has to make the decision. Take about 30 seconds. You think there's something wrong, you just go and tell the ref, what, there's something wrong, go and check it. Instead of trying to, the issue with this is you're trying to look from the front and back angle to tell the referee, what, there is something to look at. No, just just go tell the ref, you're looking at 30 seconds, you're not sure, but maybe go have a look and then let the ref decide. And the ref decides one way or another. You don't need to, do more than that. I thought it was an unnecessary wastage of time. And that's where people get bugged with VAR, because it's trying to, waste time. You don't need to waste time, right? You just got to tell the ref, what, there might be something, go take a look. Right? That's simple as that. Instead of, trying to find an angle where, there's something here, or, there's not something here, or, should I tell him, should I not? No, just the technology is there, use it, let him come to the decision himself, and you don't need to influence that. But that was my thought. I thought, again, was it an incorrect decision? I thought the penalty, I think it was one of those things, again, where if you award the penalty, then it doesn't get changed, right? And if you don't award the penalty, then it doesn't get changed, because there wasn't enough evidence one way or another to overturn it. And that is the thing, because the angles show different things. I know Evra, by the way, Evra as soon as thought it was a penalty, for sure. Evra again said the same thing, but the angles show different things. And to me, that was what it was. But feel free to make up your own mind. What do you think? I'm sure, as fans, you probably have a different opinion. Maybe, maybe you got an eye, maybe you saw it more clearly than I did. But let me know in the comments what you thought. Did you think that was a penalty? Did you think that was not a penalty? But according to me, from the front angle, it was a penalty. In the back, it was not. I'm inclined to use the front angle only because, from the back angle, you don't see the leg, because, you want to see it from the front side, because you want to see the moment when the foot collides with the other foot and where the ball is in relation to that. Because from behind, the player's feet are blocking the ball. So it sometimes can look like he's got the ball, but he's actually not got it. So for me, I would look at it from the front angle. It's always good to look at it from the front angle anyway. And you look at from that, for me, it looked like a penalty. But I understand why it was not given. I can understand that. So ultimately, some might say that cost Liverpool because it might have been 2-1. They would have won 2-1. But it's one of those things where you get it and you don't get it. And again, I've been saying this consistently. These things even themselves out over the season. Liverpool got away with the VAR decision today. They got a handball in their favor today. So these things, they even themselves out over the season. That's what's going to happen. VAR is not going to somehow miraculously give you 99% correct decisions where it was probably 85-90% before. It's not going to do that. It's still going to give you 90-95%. What it's going to do is it's going to give you decisions, the black and white decisions, the offsides, those kind of decisions. Those are going to be more accurate and more correct than what they were before. And what's going to happen is the decision making is still going to be the same. You're going to have about you're still going to have those fouls that probably were not in your favor, being not in your favor, and all that. It's still going to happen. But the number of accurate decisions that need to be made, the time, the fact is that for the big decisions, when it matters most, you can feel that there's no dodgy offside call, or there's not a dodgy penalty that's been given for a dive. Those things are going to be eliminated. But these 50-50 decisions, these subjective decisions, it's not going to change. It's still going to be some in your favor, some not in your favor. But those blatant dives that players make, or the blatant offsides that referees miss, those will be sorted with VAR. So that's just my opinion. I don't know, some people, I know that's not good enough for some people, but that's my thing. But anyway, we've got one more game coming up. Anyway, final score first of all: Fulham 1, Liverpool 1. Great point for Fulham, 2 points drop for Liverpool. But at the same time, I feel that they got a bit lucky with that. But we've got one more game coming up: Arsenal against Burnley. And the way my predictions are going, this one, everyone will be saying, well, he's predicted Arsenal to win, so Arsenal not going to win. But I feel now, I think Arsenal are going to go on and win it. Just to because I'm on a roll here with incorrect predictions. So Arsenal are going to turn the script around and they're going to win it. I think Arsenal are going to win it. There's just too much going on right now that will not happen. But anyway, we'll see. We'll be back for that one. That's going to be up. I think this video will be up just a little bit before the Arsenal game starts. But do join me if you're going to watch that one. Do join me in about 2.5 hours ish for that one. I'll be here with match reactions for that. Please remember to like this video if you enjoyed the analysis. Send your comments about the game. Let me know what you think about the game, about my reactions, about my analysis. Totally fine. And also remember to subscribe to the channel if you're new, because really that will really be support. I would really appreciate it, and I'd love the support to continue to produce these videos and these shows for you. So thank you so much. Have a good rest of your day or night, whatever time you're watching this, and see you again very, very soon. Take care. Bye-bye.